Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Divine Reality course. Now we will be moving on to another section of this course, which is the implications of life without God. Now, for me personally, brothers and sisters, this is one of my most favorite sections of the course. Again, it's not an argument for God's existence, but I believe what we learn in this section will really help us appreciate how difficult life can be without God, and how badly people need God and need religion, in particular Islam, to be able to move forward in any meaningful and productive way. So that being said, what we're going to be covering in this course is we're going to touch upon some preliminary notes, and then atheism and philosophical naturalism. We'll be touching upon this again, just briefly in relation to the implications of philosophical naturalism, the implications of atheism as far as hope is concerned, justice is concerned, value is concerned, purpose is concerned, and meaningful happiness is concerned. And then we'll be moving on to looking at some proposed solutions in the absence of God and religion, what people have tried to do to sort of bridge this gap and deal with this problem. And finally, we'll be looking at the Islamic solution and really appreciating how comprehensive the solution is that Islam provides, inshallah. So, a couple of preliminary notes, brothers and sisters. This is not a rational or logical argument for God's existence. Okay, so let me start off by saying this. This is not a rational or logical argument for God's existence. That being said, this discussion or this point is extremely powerful, and in some cases it would be more powerful when you present this than an argument, in some cases, right? So keep that in mind. This is an existential perspective on the implications of life without God. It should provide the emotional and existential fertile ground for the arguments in this course to take root. So what we mean here is that this is going to lay down the groundwork for you. This is going to highlight the turmoil that humanity is in right now. You know, the greatest crisis that modernity is experiencing, the crisis of meaning. And once we highlight this space for you and what's going on, that now allows, it creates a fertile ground for your arguments to take root. Because now once you highlight the problem, now you can really try help people with the solution, and to guide them to the ultimate solution, which is Islam, you can present those powerful arguments that we'll continue to cover during this course. It also shows how many of the things that many atheists take for granted or intuitively accept do not make sense under atheism. And again, that means being humanist even, and having purpose, morals, ethics, all of these things. All of these things in the absence of God and religion, in specific Islam, don't really make sense. You can't ground these things in any meaningful way. This approach shows how Islam is the solution to the existential crises that exists in the world today, and not atheism. Atheism cannot provide a solution in this regard. So without further ado, let's start off again by just highlighting that most atheists are philosophical naturalists. And as if you recall, what we mean by this is that most atheists believe that the universe and everything that exists is one big closed physical system. Physical things come about by physical causes, and there's nothing beyond this. There is no supernatural. There is no creator. There is no even any other power out there. There's no intelligence that created this universe. That's what they believe. Now, this inevitably has implications. This view has implications, particularly this view that is that, there is nothing beyond the physical. The view of philosophical naturalism specifically has a big problem, huge implications, and by extension, I would say any other type of atheism as well. But there will be a slight differentiating factor here, which is that for philosophical naturalists, they are really pinning themselves down from this perspective, because as soon as they say there is nothing beyond the physical, there is no creator, no intelligence, no supernatural being that's created all of this, then immediately what this means is that there is no meaning behind what exists. This physical universe, this closed system. Remember the box? Everything is in the box. Everything physical is resulting in other physical things. There is no rhyme or reason or meaning behind this box or what's within this box. It's empty, right? Now, generally for atheists and others that may not believe in God as creator, or may not believe in religion, but may not be philosophical naturalists, they still have a problem. And the problem for them is, well, even if they say even if they acknowledge somehow that there is some sort of power or energy or something out there that created everything, now that doesn't mean, one, that this thing had the ability to create these things with meaning or for a reason. And number two, even if it did, there's no way of them accessing that knowledge or that information as to why this creator or this cause that they may refer to created all of these things. So they're still left with the same fundamental problem, which is that they can't understand the meaning behind everything, right? And we'll explore these things further as we go along. So let me now really paint the picture for you and highlight why is it that we are claiming that if you deny God, if you deny the Creator, that there is no ultimate hope, no purpose, no value, no ultimate happiness, and essentially no meaning, right? Why is this the case? Why is it that denying God generally and being a philosophical naturalist specifically leads to, at the end of the day, nihilism, meaninglessness, right? In all these spheres that we're discussing here and all other spheres of life as well. Why is this the case? Well, simply put, it's because if there is no creator, if there is no God, then everything that exists in this physical universe has come about by random, unconscious, physical stuff and processes. That's it. In other words, it's accidental. It's just one big accident. That's what everything is. Now, if the universe and as a whole is an accident, that means anything within the universe is also accidental, right? There's no rhyme or reason. There is no meaning behind its existence, and that includes us as human beings. If there is no creator, there is no God, then everything is an accident, and everything within the universe is accidental. That includes us as human beings, and every aspect and facet of our lives is meaningless. There is ultimately no meaning. This is an inevitable implication of atheism. You cannot escape this. You cannot escape this. Right? You can try to escape it, as many of the existentialist philosophers try to do, and as many people try to do today through many different means, but ultimately you cannot escape this. Right? It's impossible. So let's start with no ultimate hope. What is hope? Hope is the feeling or expectation and desire for something to happen. When we're hopeful, it's always in the future. We're hoping for something to happen, something that's meaningful, and it's an expectation or a desire for something meaningful to happen, right? Denying the hereafter renders hope meaningless, right? So if you deny God and if you deny Islam, therefore by extension you deny the hereafter, it renders hope meaningless. Now imagine someone on their sickbed, they're dying, right? Where's the hope for them? I mean, on a small scale level, where's the hope? Why should there be hope that things will get better? What can they rely upon? And secondly, where's the hope after they die? Where are they going to go? There is no hope. It finishes. Everything finishes. A life of suffering. Where is the hope for someone that's continued to suffer throughout their life? Even if they continue to suffer and nothing good happens for them, that's it. Once they die, YOLO, you only live once, you're dead. There is no hope. There is nothing to come after this life. A life of joy. Say someone's enjoyed their life and had really good things and really enjoyed their time on earth. Well, even they don't have hope, because once they die, it comes to an end. Right? That's why this whole materialist perspective is such a delusion. We're chasing ghosts essentially. Things that are not going to go with us. Things that are temporal. They're just here for the moment and then they're gone. And these things that we're chasing in this world, even if we have them, they don't bring us true meaning or true happiness or true joy, because as soon as you get something, you want another thing, and then you want a third thing, and then you want a fourth thing, and then a fifth thing, and a sixth thing. You're never satisfied. Rich people, they buy all of these expensive things, and then soon after buying those things, they're living vicariously through someone else. because they don't enjoy these things anymore. And then they show off these things to other people, and then they get this kick out of it. So it's empty. There is no ultimate hope in a life without God. And as beautiful ayah in the Quran, where Allah says, chapter 12, verse 87, certainly no one despairs of Allah's mercy except the people who disbelieve. As Muslims, as believers, we have hope in the mercy of Allah, and that's the greatest thing. And without that, what do you have? Nothing. This is quite a morbid section. It probably will really upset you. It does me sometimes as well, but I think it's very important for us to grapple with this and really get to the bottom of this, inshallah. Without God, another implication of atheism, if we further explore it, is no ultimate justice. Justice is an unachievable goal under atheism. Reflect. An innocent Jewish lady in Nazi Germany during the 1940s. Where is the ultimate justice for them? Where is the ultimate justice for people that were innocently killed for no reason? Where is the ultimate justice? How's it taking place for someone like Hitler? They only live once. If they lived as a tyrant, they die one death, and that's it. And they probably killed millions of people, millions of innocent people. And all of those innocent lives they took, where is the justice for them? Right? So again, in the absence of God, you live, you die, you become a part of the earth, and that's it. It's finished. Ultimate justice can never take place on this earth. It never has, it never will. It can never take place. Allah says in the Quran, chapter 45, verse 22, Allah created the heavens and the earth for a true purpose, to reward each soul according to its deeds. They will not be wronged. Even as much as a mustard seed, nothing is unaccounted for. Everything will be accounted for. Every good will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every bad will be punished. And ultimate justice would take place on the Day of Judgment. But in the absence of God, in the absence of Islam, that's it. It's what happens here. And when it's done, it's done. Allah says in the 3rd chapter of the Quran, verse 18, Allah Himself is a witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Him. And so are the angels and people of knowledge. He is the maintainer of justice. There is no God worthy of worship except Him, the Almighty, the All-Wise. And again, Allah emphasizes that justice is a reality and it will be established. Allah is the most just. These realities don't make sense in the absence of God. So let's take a look at no ultimate value for human life in the absence of God. Now, if you're an atheist and philosophical naturalist in particular, well, then you have a problem. Because essentially what you believe is that everything that exists, including us human beings, are just an arrangement of matter, just atoms and molecules in motion, which is a specific arrangement of matter. There is no rhyme or reason behind it. There is no meaning behind it. We're just accidental byproducts of this process, this random process which has been taking place. What does that mean for us? That renders us, in reality, if we're going to be very honest about it, no different or no more significant than a table or a chair or a phone, or this laptop or this camera. We are just an arrangement of atoms and molecules, just like these things are, just a different arrangement of atoms and molecules. Now, if that's the case, then where does the value for human life come from? How do we ground it? Human rights, humanism. Intuitively, intrinsically, we understand that human life is sacred, is valuable. We cherish human life. We have all of these strong feelings about this, but how do we ground these things? It's funny, you hear of atheist humanists, philosophical naturalists that are humanists. Well, how do you account for that? Sure, I can appreciate you have an innate yearning and an understanding for the value of human life, but what does it mean on your atheism, on your naturalism? Nothing. I am no different from this phone, essentially. It's just a different arrangement. Now, someone can turn around and say, well, you're a more complex arrangement of atoms and molecules. You're a sentient arrangement of atoms and molecules. You're a conscious arrangement of atoms and molecules. That's why you're more valuable than a phone. Well, hold on a second. All of these points and these principles that you've thrown out there, why do they mean anything? How do you ground them? That's an important question. Why is it that a more complex arrangement of atoms and molecules is far more valuable than a simpler arrangement of atoms and molecules? Where did you get that principle from on atheism or naturalism? Why is it that a more sentient arrangement of atoms and molecules is more valuable than a non-sentient arrangement of atoms and molecules? Again, it sounds good, but how do you ground it? These are just ideas we throw out there that we cannot ground. So at the end of the day, if we're to be very honest, if you believe that everything that exists is a physical accident and everything that exists within this world is comprised of atoms and molecules, and there is no ultimate meaning or purpose behind these things, then where does the idea of human values and human worth come from? Aside from being something that sounds good, is intuitive, and we would agree as Muslims it's intuitive, it makes sense. But we can ground it through our understanding of this world, through our understanding of who God is, why He created us, how He created us. But for an atheist and a naturalist, it's just these intuitive impulses that they can't ground in any way, shape or form. So from an atheist perspective, if there was a chocolate bunny on this table right now, and it was me, and if there's a crazy person with a hammer, and he had to choose between smashing the chocolate bunny or smashing me, from an atheist perspective, it doesn't really make any difference. It's all the same. You may not like it, but you won't know why you don't like it. You won't be able to ground why you don't like it. It's just a feeling. It's just a thought. And that really, so essentially what atheism and philosophical naturalism do is they devalue the human being. If you're really honest about this, if you're really honest and you follow through with the implications of atheism and naturalism. So let's move on. What we're going to do here is we're going to stop, brothers and sisters. In the next section, we're going to continue with the implications of atheism. So until next time, one thing I want you to do is I want you to really get to grips with this concept here, what we're discussing. And I'm going to summarize it very simply for you. In the absence of God, if you say there is no creator, there is no God, then everything that exists is an accident. It's a random accident. And if it's a random accident, it has no meaning or purpose. And therefore our lives as human beings have no meaning or purpose, no value, no worth. Then where does that leave us? In an absolute state of crisis. Think about that, and when you're ready, join me for the next section.